Hey guys, so this was a job I did 3 years ago. You can see how big this lantana gets. This is, I believe it's 2. I'd have to look at the old pictures because it was about 3 or 4 years ago I put these landscape in. But I wanted to show you these, they're called cousinets. And they're really cool. They're like little heads with hair on top. But wanted to show you just how to clean these up because they can get kind of big if you have a small area. One thing I would do is put a stick kind of inside the bush to make sure there's nothing underneath it. Cats like it, raccoons, skunks, snakes, lizards. Basically, you can see I've cleaned this one out already, but you can see why it's a good hiding spot. You know, it's almost like a little bonsai tree. Basically, you just want to kind of clean it out underneath, clip out, so you can kind of see how I kind of clipped out all underneath, so it kind of looks like an umbrella. This one I did not clean out yet. It's still pretty cleaned out from last couple, what was it, 6 months ago. Every 6 months I'll clean it out, but you can see all the needles down at the bottom. So what you do is you basically just lift up, go about halfway in between the bush. There you see the entire bush. You skip about halfway, like right there, and then you just start clipping off everything on the bottom, just to clean it all out so it stays that umbrella form. And then you take a broom, works best, and you basically just do a light scrape over the mulch or bark or whatever you have, and you want to get rid of all these dead needles, just like that, and as many as you can. I mean, it's pretty difficult to get it all out of there. And since you're already pulling out all these needles, a good thing to do is to take about about a foot of mulch away from the center. See, I actually have weed barrier down here. And then put in some, kind of mix in a little bit of fresh soil. I got some organic garden soil from Home Depot. And basically just kind of mix it around where the roots are, and that'll just kind of, it'll last for another year, you know, extra fertilizer and stuff like that. So that's always something good to add to these little guys. But alright, so here you can kind of see I've kind of cleaned out the inside a little bit. You can cut some of these branches back, like this one right here I can cut back a little more. And I'm just making basically an umbrella. What you do is you just kind of open it up and close it back up, just so you can kind of see what it's going to look like if you cut the ones underneath it. And the ones on the top are obviously going to grow taller and longer, so they'll cover up and make a nice umbrella as it grows bigger. But you want to cut, basically, you can see all this stuff on the bottom that I have here is, there's no use for any of this down here. So cut all this off. And you want to, again, just make sure you don't end up leaving a big hole either, you know. Alright, and there you have it. So they're about half their size. They're nice and clean underneath. You got a couple decorative rocks that were buried They used to, those rocks used to be bigger than these guys when I planted them. Basically, you can see it's nice and clean. Alright, so obviously here in California it doesn't rain that often, and because of the fires you can kind of see this thick soot on all the plants. So you can see how much of a color difference all these plants have by hosing them down. It'll help the leaves breathe, and it'll really help out the plants. It's almost like a fresh rain, a day of rain. So I'm doing it today because it's not burning hot, so the leaves aren't going to burn from the sun, and it'll definitely help out the plants be happy. I want to show you guys the difference between when you guys cut these plants. If you want plants to constantly growing flowers, you need to cut off the old ones. As you can see on this right side right here, I've already trimmed it. A bush of this size will take about 15 to 20 minutes depending on how many of these little heads or little buds are popping out. You just want to make sure that you cut off all the dead flowers. That way new ones will come popping up right after it. As you can see, this side over here I got it done. This side over here does not have it done yet. So if you're cutting these off, make sure to wear gloves. You don't cut your hands, and I usually do it when there aren't going to be so many bees. Right now I can see one right there, but that's okay. But yeah, what that'll do is it'll let the plant focus on growing the flowers, the brand new ones, like those ones right there you can see. So as soon as you cut these off, then they'll have the new ones like right there and right there and right there will be able to grow faster and fuller.